And now something completely different.
Good afternoon. I'm speaking to you live just outside.
I like to think balding is just God's way of saying, now let's see you get laid.
Is it true that if you don't use it, you lose it?
What I'd really like to do is put the greatness of this man in perspective.
The hair loss community has a lot to be thankful for, having you as a spokesperson.
You mean you just call this guy up?
About life and about reality.
And now, America's #1 reality radio show for men. Live from Los Angeles, it's Spencer Kobren's The Bald Truth.
Hey guys, welcome to the show. 888-659-3727 is the toll-free number. We are live here with our friend from Vancouver, who you may not recognize at this point.
I've been gone for 2 weeks.
Yeah, he's been gone for 2 weeks, and he comes back completely bald. Not completely.
Hey, that's what the weather change does.
You know what? I wish I had the fucking balls to make that happen at this point in my life. The reality is my hairline would not look as good as yours. It would have, the much greater recession and divots, especially in this side. So you have a nice symmetry, slightly asymmetrical, which is supposed to be, but naturally. And that would not be my case. So bully for you. Congratulations.
I love it. I have forgotten how much I love having a buzzed head. And last time I did this was in 2010, which was my last strip surgery. Maybe 2 weeks after, once the staples came out, I did the entire top and back and sides. And it didn't look as good as this because I didn't have as many grafts at the time, like growing. I now at this point, like if someone told me you had to keep your head buzzed for the next 10 years, I'd be fine with it.
Dude, do a goatee with a stronger mustache. You can pull a little bit of a George Michael, let him rest in peace.
That was a good look on him.
It worked.
It really, maybe his hair was a little longer so he could do kind of a really short Caesar.
Yeah.
But and for everyone at home, I'll do a spin around so you can see everything.
It's going to take them a second to catch up. You're right there.
And that's that.
Hey, Joe. Hey, Spencer. All right, guys. What's happening, everybody? Guys, if you are new to the broadcast, if you're tuning in on iTunes Radio, iHeartRadio, Stitcher Radio, guys from Queens Network, if you are not watching the broadcast and just listening to the audio, phone lines are open. 888-659-3727. This is a live broadcast, so feel free to call in at any time if you have any questions or concerns about your hair loss. It's a warm day here in Southern California. My day was full of bullshit. Could not get out, could not work out, could not play ball, could not do anything to help my fucking mind so that I can conduct this program completely stress-free. However, with that said, the fact that Joe is back from vacation.
Vacation. I was sick as a dog.
Makes things that much easier. A lot of things happening, by the way, in the world of hair.
Yeah.
Hair transplant surgery, hair loss medications. And what's interesting is nothing is really that new. But it is kind of made to be new. What is new is here in the state of California, the California State Medical Board did write a clear declaration that it is illegal and it would be considered aiding and abetting the practice of medicine or practicing medicine without a license for anyone who is not a physician or able to practice medicine, like a PA, for instance.
Physician's assistant, so people don't know what PA.
Yes. Can perform hair transplant surgery, period. Meaning They can't cut your scalp. They can't use a punch or a device that has a punch to dissect and then extract grafts. So these tech-run clinics essentially can no longer legally, in air quotes, exist. Now, with that said, really what they'll be doing to a lot of physicians, and it depends. I don't think, who knows if they're going to be going after the technicians or not. I mean, the technicians would essentially be, at least in the state of California, practicing medicine without a license under the auspices of the doctor's license, who is aiding and abetting the practice of medicine without a license. So I don't know if they're going to focus on the doctors or focus on the technicians. But I can tell you this. I had a very interesting conversation with one of the physicians in the IHRS, and we came to the conclusion. He was like, well, I heard your last show. Why don't you think this is such a big deal? And I explained that a lot of people will attempt to fly under the radar, just like they have for the last 20 some odd years with everything else. And the fact that they're only going to be giving out $10,000 fines and possible jail time. And when we say possible jail time when it comes to physicians and this type of quote unquote practicing medicine without a license, that probably won't happen. So a $10,000 fine every couple of months, it's a slap on the wrist for these guys. They'll be making a hell of a lot more. However, if the majority of patients out there understood that if they're having surgery performed by technicians, if they understood that they can basically go back to the clinic and say, you know what, I just found out that this is illegal. I would like my money back. That could happen a lot. And doctor's not going to cry extortion because what he is doing is illegal. It's a fucking perfect crime.
I think
I don't endorse extorting extorting doctors. I'm just saying that's a possibility. Go ahead, Jeff.
I think that this is an opportunity for patients to really see what a clinic is made of, even during the consultation before surgery, because you go in and you start asking, assuming you're talking to a doctor during the consultation, you start asking the doctor, okay, so are you going to be doing the surgical aspect of my procedure, or are you going to be delegating this to a technician? And bring up this development with the California State Medical Board and say, I'm aware of this, so I just want to make sure you're going to be doing this. And watch them squirm if they're one of those clinics that are trying to fly under the radar. And I'm just really interested to see how the clinics that aren't doing it themselves, where it's technicians only, or in part at least, will try to talk their way around this. And so I'm going to be making an effort to educate everyone that comes to my website, and maybe looking at educating through my YouTube channel as well, to include this line of questioning in your consultation. If you're going to be going to a clinic in California, I think that would be really important. And I'd love to hear the feedback from patients that take me up on that, because that is, I think it's a great opportunity for patients to learn how clinics operate.
And I also think it's a great opportunity for all the clinics across the United States to start preparing for this possibility and actually give them the ability to train PAs if they choose not to perform surgery themselves, or to learn how to do this themselves. So right now, physicians in most states, state of New York, for instance, and other states, have the opportunity to say, wait a second, California is a precedent setting state.
Yep.
Let's prepare for this, because this shit is going to happen across the board eventually. Don't think that there aren't, people who are going to be lobbying this. And the fact that California put this in stone, it's going to happen across the board.
100%.
It's a great opportunity. The problem here in California that I see is that there's going to be a lot of people with no time on tissue performing surgery on vulnerable patients. The quality is going to go down exponentially in the next year or so. So for anyone who's deciding to have surgery in California, make sure that whoever you have surgery with has experience. In other words, say if you go to a large chain clinic like Bosley, for instance, they're using PAs right now, and they've been doing that for a long time. They were the only company, I would say, in California that really prepared for this. So at least their technicians have time on tissue. Now, do we endorse them? No, we do not. But at least they're doing it legally, and the people that are working at the clinic have time on tissue.
Yeah.
Everyone else in California, not so much. So that's why the IHS at this point is it's more important than it's ever been for many reasons. You're not going to find a physician in California that doesn't have the legal staff or is able to do the entire procedure themselves on the IHS. That's just a fact.
Absolutely. I can see the clinics scrambling now. It's like, that have been using technicians all of a sudden can't do that anymore. And if they're going to try to fly above board, then the doctor who's not been doing it has to suddenly learn how to absorb years of experience. It's something he's never done before, has done very little of.
Ain't going to happen. Half these guys can't even place their own grafts.
And maintain that same level of whatever quality they were doing to begin with. So it's interesting times for sure. I didn't see this coming. I'm glad it's here. Because,
I did see it coming, and I was.
To be honest, is always the best policy.
I was emotionally prepared for it. I've warned many doctors that this was going to happen. My only issue is that now this opens up Pandora's box for a lot of other things to potentially happen too, because this will affect the device makers initially.
Mm-hmm.
And who's to say, and I've said this before, that if you go down, look at the scope of practice. Does my sound okay? God almighty,
Yeah.
My levels look fucked up. If you look at the scope of practice for all assistants, surgical technicians, medical assistants, placing live organs and manipulating live organs is not within that scope of practice. So how do you differentiate the two?
Good question. That's the next step.
You can't. And I can tell you this, that there are people working on that concept right now. So what's going to happen to the entire field? You guys, every hair transplant surgeon who's listening to this broadcast right now better prepare themselves. Either send the techs that you love, get them, get them qualified, have them become PAs. I know a couple of doctors who are already doing that and supporting that.
Wow.
Or have the techs train PAs right now while it's legal to manipulate grafts, to cut grafts under a microscope, and to place grafts. I don't have a crystal ball, but I kind of do. And I'm telling you that the industry is going to change significantly.
And I'm all for it.
How do you feel about that, Joe? You are all for it. Good.
I feel fine about it because, look, this is the kind of course correction that it's going to harm a lot of people. But in the end,
not
for the
me.
long term, no, I'm talking patients.
No, I know.
It'll harm patients. No question about it, because people will try to get around this. People will try to continue doing what they're doing, but in the doctor's hands instead of the technicians. So the inexperience level the number of inexperienced people performing procedures, even though they're doctors, will skyrocket. But for the long term, this will be better for the industry and better for patients in the future, because fewer. I think that it'll weed out some clinics.
It'll weed out a lot of clinics. There'll be a lot less the guys who are really interested in doing this procedure are going to win.
Yeah.
But, my biggest concern was, okay, guys, now you got what you want. Now you're going to see what's going to happen. And there's going to be a lot of fucking carnage. It really should have been a gradual process. Like, State Medical Board gives every practice 1 year before this goes into this goes into action.
That would be. I'd be surprised to see that, but yeah, that would have been better. But it is what it is.
Yeah. All right, guys. The phone number is 888-659-3727. 888-659-3727. Let me try to go live here on Instagram. See how that works.
Also, if you're in Europe or the UK, you can call 0203-3724-683. I say that because I know that we've got some people in Europe that we're talking about calling in. Again, that's 0203-3724-683. And I think that you can try either number with Skype if you're trying to call with Skype, or any other internet or data style calling system.
This live thing for Instagram's a pain in the ass. I'm not even going to do it.
What else is new?
I can try it. Let's see.
Oh yeah, someone in the chat room was asking why I have the buzz cut. No, I did not have another FUE in the past 2 months. It was 9 weeks ago. I had my FUE procedure with Dr. Wong and his technician Raluca.
Raluca.
I do make a point to mention the technician, because I feel like it's important for people to know wherever you're going. Like if you're going to some other doctor that uses a technician, I think it's always important to specify that there's a technician, because I see people online saying, yes, I went to Dr. So-and-so. He does great work. He does great work, or his technicians do great work?
His technician does great work.
I'm not a big fan of that. So I'm always making sure to mention not just the technician, but her name, because she's damn good at what she does. I think she deserves the recognition, and you guys need to be aware that it's a technician that did the extractions, not the doctor. The team overall did a fantastic job on me, but I forgot where the original point was. But yeah, so I decided to cut my hair now on top simply because I was letting the hair grow. I forgot why. Why was I letting the hair? Oh yeah, I was letting the hair grow because it was a kind of a cool look at first, but it was getting kind of gangly, and I was like, this is looking stupid. But I needed to finish my last video. I was introducing Dr. Keen, Sharon Keen, into the hair transplant mentor group of exceptional hair transplant specialists. And I needed to finish that before I cut my hair. So I finished that yesterday and cut my hair an hour before we went live today. And it feels so good.
Well, it looks wonderful, by the way.
Thank you.
And again, I wish I could do that, but it would not work for me. My hairline is just too fucked up. So anyway,
I think that's your personal issue. I think it would look fantastic, even if you do look like Kane from Kung Fu. It would look great.
Say that again.
I forgot what I said.
How great I would look.
I think that you would look fantastic with a shaved head. Even if you do look like Kane from Kung Fu, it would look great.
I would definitely look like Kane from Kung Fu. I would certainly look like I'd be a lot more Zen looking for sure, if I made that choice.
Zen looking, Zen feeling.
Maybe Zen feeling. Well, I do think about it when I was texting with a friend of mine, a new friend of mine, and telling this person that I have to like rush into the shower, blow dry my fucking hair, do the whole hairspray thing because it's a real pain in the ass. This morning I was doing some interviews, just audio, in my fucking underwear. My hair's all over the place. Doesn't make a difference. And I have to deal with this whole thing. Just to leave the fucking house, too, is such a pain in the ass. If I can shave my head down to like a number 4,
yeah,
it would be life-changing.
It would be. I'm telling you, man, because with the silly haircut that I've been sporting for the past couple of months, I don't give a shit. Like I go to my local places, get my sushi and go to the grocery store, no hat, and it's like the hair on my neck was like getting long. It looked bad, but I didn't really care. It's like, really, no one says anything. No one else gives a shit. No one knows who you are. It's like even my friends that that I run into, they're like, "Hey, you got the haircut going, whatever." It doesn't matter. I just, maybe I'm just letting myself go. I don't know, but it does bring me back to reality when I buzz it like this and I go outside walking my dog. It's like, wow, I don't feel my hair blowing around looking like, a twister or something. So it's good. It's refreshing, and I might keep it like this for a while.
It's fucking liberating, my man. And maybe one day I will have the balls to make that happen. But right now, we're killing it on this show. People like to see hair on my head. That's what's going to happen.
I think the viewership might actually go up if you shave your head, just for the circus effect.
That would be. I'm not emotionally equipped. Let's take a phone call, guys. 888-659-3727 is the toll-free number. Let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this, and where are you calling from?
Spencer, it's Dante.
Dante, man, how are you?
Hey, what's up?
Good. How you doing? How's it going?
It's going. It's going.
Joe, how are you?
I can't complain. I got a nice buzz cut, feeling good. Drinking a beer. Hanging out with the guys.
It looks good. I'm surprised that for all transplanted hair, it looks that full. It looks nice.
Well, I'm actually, thank you. I'm going to be using my own noggin for at least one, maybe two videos for educational purposes to talk about the illusion of density, how density is defined and how it's presented based on hair length, and you don't have to have a full density transplant to have a full density look. So we'll see.
All right, I'll watch that. That will be interesting. But I'm more in Spencer's camp. I couldn't do it. I wouldn't be able to shave my head. I don't have enough hair, actually.
Dante, we're old guys, though. I mean, it's different.
I know.
Joe's got I got a few years on Joe. It still works with him.
Only a few.
But I would say that maybe because my hair is a lot more gray, it's possible that the hairline kind of defect wouldn't be as noticeable, and I might be able to get away with it. I just don't think I have the head shape. And now I got this thing growing on my fucking head that I have to see a dermatologist for. So who knows what's happening? I may have to shave my head.
Where is it?
It's right in the part line, dude. That is like somewhere I do not want to get shit cut off.
Because it takes out hair.
Yeah, I've had things taken off my head by the dermatologist. I know, and he knew, he knows that transplant. It's a different dermatologist than obviously the ones that do the transplant. He said, "Well, you're going to lose like 2 hairs." I said, "Well, I guess I have to." But he just like burned it. They never really cut. Had to cut it.
By the way, you're really depressing me, Dante.
Well, hopefully it'll just be fine. Hopefully it's just fine.
Well, you know what? It could be anything. But if it continues to grow, I still got to get that shit removed so it stops growing.
Right.
That's what happens when you're 54 years old. You got to get shit cut off of you.
That's for sure. Every time I go, it's like 3 to 4 different things coming off my back. And I go every 6 months. But
all right, listen, dude. Let's talk about something else.
You're depressed now.
All right. So this is going to be a wild, quick call. Have you guys ever heard of Dr. Umar in Redondo Beach?
Let's see, Dr. Umar. Yes, of course I have.
He's doing a lot with beard and body hair.
That's his thing. That's his
claim to fame.
That's his speciality, as they would say in the UK.
All right, so after I say what I'm going to say, maybe I might be banned from this show. So here's what I'm thinking. like I've been, last couple of times I called, I mentioned I don't know what's going on with my hair, but my hairline is just like just not receding, but hair's just falling out of it. Like I said, I think the donor area is thinning out, so obviously that hair's now in my hairline, and that's thinning out because of my age. I'm thinking of talking to him. I don't really know anything about him except what I've been reading and watching videos and listening to the guy, and I might go see him and just doing like a beard hair transplant, because I don't have a whole lot of hair left in the donor area on my head, on my scalp, but if I put it in and it keeps falling out where they put it, it doesn't make any sense. So this is like my idea now. Maybe go see him, get a beard transplant for as much as he could take, and if it goes wrong, have to go full piece. I don't know. I'm just disappointed in what's happening to me.
Why not go full?
So much
starting out.
Yeah, I mean, if you think it's possible that it can go wrong, why not just go full? If you're willing to go full piece, why not just go full piece?
Yeah, because I'd rather not. I'd rather not. But worst case scenario. But I don't know. But have you guys heard anything about him? Or
sure, he's part of what we do. He's part of what I do. At least.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that.
The reality is, I have seen him work some significant miracles on guys who no one could possibly help. And just like with any other physician on the IHRS, he also has some unhappy patients. That's the nature of the game. When you're dealing with beard and body hair, it is less, let's say, it's less predictable in general than when you're dealing with scalp hair. However, he's had some great successes. So if you understand that going in, and it depends on where he's placing the grafts and how much hair is actually being removed from your beard and from what part of the beard line is being removed, I mean, you may be fine. But is it going to be life-changing for you? I don't think so, Dante. I think you're going to call us in a year and be like, I'm still unhappy. I'm losing more hair.
I don't know, it might be, because I wouldn't have him do the hairline, because the hairline's still there, but it's kind of getting see-through again. But if I can go behind, like to the top, middle, and back, to give, like you guys were talking about last week, the density, when somebody asked, would you rather have a full hairline? And both of you guys said, no, I'd rather have a little recession and, some reinforcement behind it. That's what I'm looking for, some reinforcement. And I think that hair would be perfect. If it, obviously if it worked, it would be perfect. It doesn't have to grow that long. It's dark, and it's more fuller and coarser and thicker. Because, we also said my beard is very thick, as it always was, but now it's even looks thicker as I get old. I don't have a beard, but I could see from shaving what's there.
Well, look, man, it's very possible that you make it will be a positive experience. Just realize it's going to cost you a lot of money. If it doesn't work, you're out that donor hair, and you are out a lot of money.
Yeah, because body hair transplantation in North America is not cheap. It's more expensive than usually. It's more expensive than using scalp hair. It doesn't have the survival rate. Like, this is across, I don't care where you go. This isn't about any specific clinic. But beard hair survival rates, graft for graft, won't be as high as what you'll get from traditional scalp hair. The general rule of thought in the community, in the industry, is that scalp hair is king, and then beard hair after that, and then chest hair after that, and then everything else behind chest hair is a very distant fourth, fifth, sixth, whatever. So that's your trifecta right there: scalp, beard, chest, in that order, with descending rates of survivability that correspond accordingly. So you're not going to get the same survival rates. Will you get good survival rates with a doctor that's experienced and knows what he's doing and has a consistent track record? Sure. The probability is there, not the guarantee. Remember, no guarantees. But it's going to be expensive. And whether you can afford it or not, no one likes to, throw away or not throw away. But
we're talking about a half a new Corvette expensive, if not more.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're talking new Corvette, not one from 1981.
You know.
So
I mean, you could end up being charged $10, $12 a graft.
Yeah.
You know, you have how many grafts did you think you could have moved?
I don't know, 3,000. You know, yeah, it's a lot of dough. Yeah.
All right, so you're talking about $30K.
Yeah, that's a lot of dough.
You know, you could send the kid to college for a year, get a boat. You could get a new car.
Pay for a life hair systems.
You can pay for a lifetime of hair systems. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And still have change for a down payment on a Corvette.
Or you can hire yourself a nice, you know, if it's legal where you are, 22-year-old for about a year. He's not going to care. And he's not going to care about your hairline.
You could sponsor a 22-year-old girl in college.
You could easily be a sugar daddy for at least a year on that.
Yeah, no, I understand. Yeah, and I saw Joe. I saw that Dr. Keene in Arizona. I watched your video on that. She looks great, but my problem with that is that I don't, you know, like I said, I don't have a whole lot on my, you know, on the donor area now. And if that's depleting over time, my thing is why go in there again if it'll look good for a year and then it starts to fall out? You know, that's what's bothering me.
Well, you shouldn't. That's the thing. It's like if you have an obviously thinning donor area, then no doctor should take you on for more scalp hair transplant surgery,
right?
Because it's just not something that an ethical doctor would take on. Now, you know, keep in mind it's, you know, your donor area, everything like sight unseen. I don't know what you mean by thinning, how visibly thinning it is. Is the actual donor zone thinning? Is it just the hair that's been transplanted previously is thinning, or both?
I think it's a little of both. You know,
okay.
It's not like
what
extreme,
you just said,
both.
Dante, is key. You said, I think. So do you know for sure, or is it just you think maybe it could be, or it just feels like it is, or it definitely is?
By the way, Dave Anderson,
No,
my money would go to charity. Thank you very much.
Dante?
Yeah, no, I don't know. I can't tell because I don't really can't see the back of my head, so I'm not sure what's going on back there. But
that's step one. Okay, get a proper evaluation. Have someone look at your scalp with a scope to get an idea of the miniaturization that's actually going on. And if you are losing significantly to the point where it's going to cause an aesthetic impact or cosmetic impact, then the doctor will be able to tell, and they'll be able to tell you whether or not surgery is a good idea. And then once you get that answer, then you'll know how to plan for the future. But until now, or until then, you should pretty much hold off on the idea of any sort of body hair transplantation until you know that the scalp hair transplant option is off the table.
all right, no, that's good advice. That's good advice.
And in the meantime, if you think that your transplant itself is thinning out, just go talk to a wig place. Just talk to them. See what they think, and see what they can offer. Explore it. It can't hurt. I've actually been thinking about going down to talk to a place just to see what they tell me. Not that I don't have a need for that, but I'm thinking about actually going to a wig place just to see what they tell me.
Don't call it a wig place. To Dante especially, dude.
See how can I describe it? A male aesthetic piece place.
It's a place. It's a place where they provide prosthetic hair replacement.
Additional hair.
Yeah, hair additions.
All right.
Prosthetic follicular enhancement.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what would they would look at the sides, the back, and say you look like you're thinning there? Is that what you're saying, Joe?
Yeah. Well, an experienced hair transplant.
No, but he's already wearing a small piece behind his transplanted hair.
Yeah, he's doing the yarmulke, of course.
Yeah. But
he also just said I could never go full on system.
Well,
right?
I wouldn't want to, but I think I would do that rather than be completely bald. I don't know.
Okay,
I would
fair
have
enough.
to.
So,
Some of these systems look pretty good. Not that I want
I
it,
know.
but they look pretty good, you know.
Monte, look on YouTube. There's some guys like
Yeah, I
just do
do.
a search on YouTube. Man, there are some that like they're so good that if I had seen those when I was before I was about to get another hair transplant for repair, I might have gone that route instead. I mean, they look damn good.
Look, the reality is it's not going to be easy. But when you think about how emotionally, not that it's more emotionally, not that it's easier for women to wear hair, but at least it's more socially acceptable. So the emotions are a little bit different. But if it was socially acceptable, if you didn't think that, A, it was undetectable, and it was socially acceptable, you were able to tell your peers that you were wearing hair, wouldn't that just be much easier? You'd probably make that choice first. But because society has stigmatized it, because of all the old shitty toupees out there and all the fact that it's still the last bastion of political incorrectness, you can still make fun of guys who are wearing hair or guys who are balding or whatever. That's why people don't do it, even though today's systems, if done correctly, can look 100% natural, except the maintenance is going to be a bitch. You cannot depend on a club to make that happen. You have to learn how to do all that shit yourself. It will change your life a lot, but it can be done. And in my view, it just seems that if you put everything together, including the changes that will occur in your life, the amount of time you have to put into it, some of the emotional aspects of it, it's very similar to having a hair transplant, except if it doesn't work out, you can just throw it away. So you have the same emotional roller coaster, the same concerns about people knowing if you had something done or if you're wearing something, all the same shit, except it's cheaper and you can just throw it away.
No, you're right.
Once you're disfigured, you're disfigured, man. That's it. Done. Right. Game over. Then you're forced to make a decision as opposed to trying something and then saying, well, maybe I don't like this. I'll give surgery a shot.
Wouldn't you rather be able to make your own decisions based on research and slow progress, figuring out what you want to do, as opposed to having to do something just so you don't look like you have to do something?
Oh, of course, yeah.
And I have to tell you, on a personal level, maybe it's because I do what I do, but if the time comes, I will look at all my options, knowing that I am probably not emotionally equipped to have cosmetic surgery of any kind, but I still, the option is there for me. I absolutely, and I've tried them before, like what you do. But I would absolutely say, you know what? Let me try. I'll get a bigger system. Let me give it a shot. Shave my head a little bit. Put that shit on for a while. See what happens, and tell the world, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a shit. And if people don't like it, go fuck yourselves.
Yeah, but see, my problem is even though on my hairlines it's thinning, but I still have a fair amount of hair up to like almost halfway to the top, from this hairline to, about 4 inches back. So there's a fair amount of hair I would have to just shave off.
Well,
to put something on all the way. At this point.
But if you're putting something behind that hairline that's thicker, that illusion, it'll create an illusion that even the hair in front of that is going to be slightly fuller, because it's not going to be quite a see-through.
Well, right, you're right, and that's what I get. It gives me a backdrop. So
right.
If you could see through my hairline, you then all of a sudden, after a few inches, you see this beginning of this piece, and it's dark, and it's there, and there's a lot of hair, so yeah, it gives you a nice backdrop, so it kind of does work. But
let me ask you this: is your hair naturally dark, or do you dye it?
No, I have black hair. There's a little bit of gray coming through now, but the sideburns are gray, but the top and the sides are pretty much still fairly dark black. Yeah, I've never dyed it.
Yeah, and
I only dyed it. I color the sides a little bit.
And that is a little bit of a detriment especially for an older guy. If your hair was, and mine doesn't look as dark as it does, doesn't look as salt and pepper as it actually is. on camera. But that has given me a lot of, or given me the ability to be a little bit more free as far as my hairstyle is concerned. Comb it further back a little bit than I used to be able to, because while it hasn't changed as far as the see-through effect, you don't see it. It's just not as visible because of the scalp to hair contrast. It's much less now.
Right.
So being gray as you're getting older and dealing with hair loss is actually a little bit of a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
So Dante, listen, before you bring down the rest of the room, I'm just kidding. We love hearing from you, man. It's just, when you start talking about getting shit cut off your body, like I bring up one thing and all of a sudden you're telling me that you're getting 20 things cut off a year.
Well, they're little things, and fortunately, they've been okay. So hopefully, yours is fine. Just get rid of it, and you keep going from there. Because some of these things aren't even from the sun. A lot of times, what's on your head is, but or what's on your back is, but.
Dude, I got all kinds of things. I mean, it runs in my family as far as like having.
Oh, it does, yeah.
Seborrheic keratosis and all kinds of shit. So, and for some reason, I'm lucky, actually, because I'm not that spotted up for my age. But, Jesus. Shit's happening, man. Shit is changing. All right, Dante, listen, I hope that you take our advice. Listen, I work with Dr. Umar. I think that he's done a lot of great things in this field. He's helped a lot of people who could never have been helped before. But I think any type of body hair transplant is really a last resort.
Yeah. Well, I would only go beard. I would never do chest or legs or anything like that.
Well,
but
beard is body hair, facial hair, whatever, So you could think about it. You can come out here and have an assessment, see how you feel, talk to some other doctors. But I wouldn't rush into anything. All right, man?
All right, guys. Thank you.
All right, Dante.
Appreciate
take
it
care.
as always.
You got it.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Thanks. Bye.
Now I'm thinking about going to the doctor, getting shit cut off me. Phone number is 888-659-3727. Let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Eddie.
Eddie, hi. Where are you calling from, man?
Hello. Hey. Well, I'm stateless right now, but originally from California.
Okay.
So I'm just commuting between cities right now. So I've called in the past. It's been about a year. Had a surgery done with Bosley, and it wasn't a very good experience. I have a big scar, and linear scar in the back.
When did you have the surgery again?
This is years ago. I would say maybe 3 years ago, I believe.
Okay. Well, that's not that long ago, and the fact that you're having an issue like that is it's not great. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, thanks. Well, I actually had two surgeries with him back to back. So it was one year, and then the following year I did it again to fix the problem, and it was a little better. But I mean, I'm past that right now. I'm trying to. My issue right now is I'm trying to get some elasticity in the scalp, and I'm doing these exercises, and I've been doing it randomly for almost a year, and I'm getting tired of doing it. I don't know. I think I've hit a limit. And I went to see a doctor, a few doctors, and they said they could probably at least fix the scar and maybe get some grafts, but to keep doing the stretching. And I'm thinking maybe they're hinting at anywhere from 500 to 1,000 grafts maybe at best.
Hinting?
And I went to see the. I'm sorry?
Did you say they're hinting at, or they just told you 500 to 1,000 grafts?
I mean, that's what they're asserting. So, until you get in there, you don't really know. Okay. So, go ahead.
Now, did you have these consultations with actual physicians or consultants?
Physicians.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, physicians, actually, yeah. And one doctor recommended I do something called, I never heard about this, it's called a tissue expander. It's where they put these implants in the back of your scar.
Was that a doctor down in Florida?
No, this is Dr. Alexander, which I think he was on your show last week.
Okay, yeah.
So he doesn't. They don't. I mean, he doesn't do it himself. He refers you to a.
Well, I can tell you that if Dr. Alexander suggested a tissue expander, then your issues may be more significant than you even realize. Because he's a very conservative and an extremely honest guy, and it doesn't do him any good to send you out to somebody else.
Yeah, no, he was sending me to this the plastic surgeon who puts the implants, who's going to expand it, and I spoke. Basically, it's going to take about it's a 4 to 6 month process, and then I would get enough elasticity to go back to Dr. Alexander, and then he would be able to get some grafts.
And that's a tough call, because you're basically walking around looking like Mickey Mouse in the back of your head, for 4 months.
Yeah, 4 to 6 months, it's fine. I can grow my hair long and it'll cover it in the back. It's not a big deal. And it's done incrementally. So there would be visits like every month. I would come in and they would inject more saline to keep expanding it to whatever's comfortable. And you just keep coming every month. And it does get. I haven't seen any of the work done, so I'm debating whether I should fly out there and see if how this is done. And they said there was.
You should consider it, and you should also ask to see images beforehand of what it looks like at month 4.
Yeah, they said they have pictures for everything, and they're more than willing to even have the last patient they worked on, is willing to even talk to me and show his results before and after. So that's positive there. So I just was curious. Have you ever heard of this procedure, and how much? How successul is it? What's the rate of success?
They use scalp expanders for in plastic surgery for many decades upon decades, and essentially they are able to stretch the scalp out to the point where someone has their entire scalp removed in like an accident. I have seen cases where they've been able to stretch enough scalp where they can cover the rest of that missing scalp with stretch scalp. So you can get a lot. You can get a lot of tissue for sure, and you can definitely get enough to make it a lot more elastic, so that you can get a strip out. That should be no problem.
How? Forgive me if you said this already. I just didn't hear it. But how wide is your scar now?
I measure it. It's probably like.
Has anyone told you, or has anyone measured it and said, it's a centimeter wide or whatever?
No, it varies. They did measure it. I'm just going by memory here. At least just from looking at the ruler here, I know it's at least half a centimeter to. Let's say a half a centimeter to 1 centimeter, depending on the location.
Okay.
And that's better. The first surgery was worse. The first surgery was worse. It was over. It was probably a centimeter. It was over a centimeter. Especially behind the ears.
So that was my next question. Is it more wide? Like if your scalp was more in the shape of a square, would it be on either corner of the back where it was stretched more?
From corner, you mean like from behind the ear?
Sure. Yeah. So it's wider behind the ear, both ears in both cases. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes. Actually, no. It was wide even. No, after the first surgery, it was wide all across. But I think you may be right. It might be a little bit more behind the ears.
Okay. So. It's up to a centimeter wide in the corners, and then maybe half a centimeter wide in the back. Is that what it comes down to?
Yeah, I think that's about right.
Okay. So you got to ask yourself, what is your ultimate goal with having a scar revision? Is it to get the scar down as thin as possible so you can have the shortest haircut possible, or you just want to eliminate that gap that you've got in your hairstyle?
Both.
Okay.
and doing those elasticity stretches has helped. I noticed my scalp is definitely not as tight. It's definitely looser. It's still tight behind the ears, but it's definitely improved. But how long can I keep doing this for? Just my arms are getting tired.
Well, doing it for a year is longer than I've heard most. I've run into a few patients that have done it for a year, but that is exceedingly long. But it's also a good thing that you did it, assuming you've been doing it right and you are noticing, like you said, improved laxity. My concern about going in for another pass is it doesn't really matter where you go. Even when you have some sort of expansion therapy like this to greatly improve the laxity and the amount of skin tissue that can safely be taken out, there's also the physiological factors that can't be factored in with laxity exercises, because sometimes that's just the way people heal. And while you did have an improvement with the second one, which is great, I like for people to kind of think about maybe what the options might be, which could include grafting hair into the scars to make them much less visible. And that's why I was asking what your ultimate goal is. And it sounds like you basically want everything that can possibly be improved to be improved for every reason out there. And I get that, but I don't want you to get too excited about having the perfect outcome, because every time you go in, especially with strip surgery, every time you go in to fix something from the previous surgery, you're running the risk of more complications arising. That is the invasive nature of strip surgery. I've had 7 of them. I know. Not all of them were successful as far as the way the strip turned out. So you gotta understand that. Yeah, you can't have your cake and eat it too. There's always a possibility that something else might occur from having the strip surgery. So that's why I encourage people to think about the option of maybe grafting into the scar. If that hasn't been discussed, maybe talk to Dr. Alexander about it. But if you ultimately got to do what you got to do to make it the best it can be, then just proceed with caution. I mean, the scalp expansion therapy, the balloon therapy, basically, it's pretty dramatic. I don't know if you've seen pictures of it, but it's pretty dramatic. You'd have that for 3 to 4 months. And if you can handle that, then God bless you, because it's a big deal. But if you can handle that, then that's good, because a lot of people can't. Well, no, I mean, it's like, I mean, what do I say? It's like, it's tough to go through that. Like, I've seen pictures of kids with that. I'm like, how can they not be traumatized from that? You know? Have you seen pictures of what it looks like?
No, so that's why I would thought I'd call first before I even look into it and see.
A quick Google search.
Let's put it this way. Are you familiar with the Elephant Man?
Yeah, but he's complete disfigured. Yes.
Yeah, I'm just talking about the back of his scalp.
Yeah, not his face, but the back of his scalp.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Are you familiar? Have you ever seen these guys, these people who have like tumors underneath their scalp to the point where like lipomas? Like you said, you can grow your hair out longer to cover what you're going to be dealing with. Mm-hmm. You can grow your hair as long as you want. In order for them to get enough tissue, they're going to have to stretch that scalp, and it's going to be, it could be sticking out, a couple of inches from the base of your neck or from your scalp. Or more.
Okay. Aside from the looks, I want to know: is this a painful procedure? Could there be some serious side effects?
It could be painful. It depends on how quickly they do it. I saw an episode of Botched, and I was actually surprised that that these guys decided to do a tissue expansion to fix this guy's bad hair transplant scar, and they did it so rapidly because they only had a certain amount of time to film it. You never saw the end result. And I knew that it was going to be extremely painful for this guy, and I knew that it would not work. So the answer is, if it's done slowly enough, you will feel pressure, but you probably won't be in tremendous pain. The initial surgical procedure itself, inserting the balloon Yeah, I mean, it's going to be slightly painful. It's not going to be excruciating for the most part.
Hey caller, are you watching the show on YouTube?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm putting in the chat room a link to a page on hairtransplantmentor.com. Oops, there we go. That describes in detail with photos balloon expansion therapy. So click on that, and you'll be able to see the picture of what it looks like.
Okay.
It's there now.
Okay, it's taking me there right now. Okay, so I'm on your, okay. Oh my God. Is that real or is that Photoshop?
That's real.
And that is probably like, I don't even know what he's looking at, but it's probably not even that bad.
Now that's traumatizing.
This guy is going, I mean, that's extreme. I just need it around the scar line. I don't need the whole back of the scalp.
What do you think? They're not just going to put it around the scar. They have to stretch the tissue all the way around.
You have to see the picture. This thing's all the way up to almost to the top of the head. That thing's huge.
Right. They may use a slightly different silicone apparatus or balloons. That's maybe yeah. Hold on, let me take a look at this.
Oh man, I feel sick watching that. Okay, so I'll just go have to see what they've done and see their pictures and examine it. I'm not doing that. That's for sure.
Yeah, well that's basically what you're going to get. It's going to be smaller than that, but that's the type of look that you're going to be dealing with.
Yeah, for 4 months.
Okay, that looks like a huge tumor.
It looks like he has some sort of bizarre like bun on the back of his head. That's just
exactly.
Yeah,
now that is a man bun.
Yeah. Now that is extreme.
Okay,
it is extreme. It'll probably be about a quarter of that size.
Yeah.
Maybe half, and not as high.
I mean, I'll consider it. I just have to do a little more research.
You're going to look like you have a banana stuck to the back of your head.
That's exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. That's definitely. So, but as far as the look and the tightness, the pressure, can any complications come out of this? Like have there been any serious complications?
Complications come out of any procedure that you have. Long-lasting nerve damage. Potential for hematoma. I mean, you could just have that shit in your head and die in your sleep. You don't know what can happen. That's just very real. When you sign that release form, you'll see every possible complication known to man.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, you should get a copy of it before
you should get it. You should get it before. Yeah. You can get a blood clot. Blood clot can go to your heart.
Yeah, that's what I was worried about. I was concerned about leaning, like when I sleep on it. I mean, how do you sleep? What's a safe way to sleep? So
you're gonna have to get a massage table. You're gonna have to sleep like a geisha. That's just the reality. I'm not telling you not to do it, but you need to be fully informed.
Exactly. I'm reluctant to do it. I don't think I'm willing to risk it. But I will look into it. I mean, I'll have to see what the doctor says and look at the before and after pictures and during. And it is pricey too. So, okay. So that answers that question. So my first, I was also wondering, should I get, if I do the FUT again, or when I do it, I was recommended by some doctors gave me a suggestion as to get rid of the scar first. Just go back and get rid of the scar, let it heal over time, and then come back and then do another procedure if you have enough room, elasticity.
Well, that's what they're recommending since you have a tight scalp right now. They want to see, okay, let's see if we can first fix this scar and address one thing. And then if we're lucky enough...
They said I can do both. they said I can do either one. I mean, so some are suggesting they're asking me, what do I want to do? Do I want to just take out the scar first, or do the whole thing in one time? So, what is your opinion?
My opinion is, if you get the scar where you want it, fucking run for the hills and don't get another strip if anyone pays you to. Okay.
Okay.
Like I've been there. Like I had 2 bad donor scars in the back of my scalp, and luckily I was able to have a different route. But most patients, you're as a virgin scalp, you got a fucked up donor scar. As your repair case, you still got a bad donor scar. Improve, but still bad. Your third kick at the can, if you can get it just even improved, not even to the point where you originally want it to be, but just improved, just stop.
I'm sorry. There's a guy in the chat room that says, or maybe it's a girl. So I'm the one with a transplant tomorrow morning. A little stressed, I must admit.
Yeah, she's in Norway. I actually had a chat on in YouTube with her yesterday. But call her. If you get any sort of improvement whatsoever out of this next procedure, count your blessings and just stop. And any more procedures you have in the future, FUE only, with a demonstrated professional, someone that knows what the hell they're doing. Because keep chasing that ideal strip scar, and you'll lose bad.
Okay, so that's kind of.
And have you tried to get any money? Have you tried to get any money back from Bosley to help to fund this?
No, you guys mentioned that last time. Every time I think about it, I don't want to talk to those guys. I don't want to even look at them. It is such. I just get really angry, that they allowed the way
they'd probably cut you a check. So I mean, if it's going to help you, take it.
I don't know. I don't know if it's worth. I don't know. So you're saying just call them and okay. Yeah, if I make it really difficult.
Well, let's put it this way. What is it going to do to you emotionally to go back in there and say, look, I believe you fucked me up. I need to get this repaired now. I've had assessments from other professionals in the field who agree that you fucked me up.
Yeah. Because then I'm going to have to go in detail, and they're going to have to look at what's going on. It's going to rehash all these emotions and regret and remorse, and just, it's psychologically damaging. It just
you know what?
Me out.
Then I completely understand that. I am more the type of guy who'd be like, you motherfuckers are not getting away with this one. But I also understand people with, your sensibilities and kind of that emotional makeup. So if it's going to harm you in any way, don't do it.
Yeah, I think that, I may do it. I don't know. I just, right now, I got to think forward also. And I've been patient and not rushing into the third surgery. And I've done a lot of research, and I've been following Joe for a while. I've watched all his videos and researched his history. I've met quite a few doctors, even Dr. Wong, Dr. Alexander, Ron Shapiro. I've been traveling, so I'm just doing a lot of research. It's been an eye-opener. And looking back to what I went through, it should be illegal. Just the way it was all handled, it should be illegal. Fortunately, that's the industry. That's the way the industry is.
That's the nature of the industry, and that's why I've been able to be in this field doing what I do for almost 22 years.
Yeah.
I would not be needed, and neither would Joe, if this industry wasn't so fucked up, and if they just didn't want to change it. We can only reach so many people, and sadly, with today's culture and today's social media, and the way these other influencers are going out there, many more people are being harmed.
Yep.
So you're lucky you found us, and I'm really sorry that you're going through what you're going through.
Yeah, and it's I've seen the thing is that what's happened to me is it's not detrimental. It's not like traumatic. It's not like what I've seen from other patients where they're really scarred up. Yeah. So I just try to be on the positive side and be thankful. I just have a scar, and then I need to do some FUE to it's for the temporal area to get rid of some of the hair. I think they went too far forward. So I've been told. I mean, so I just gotta be on the bright side and just be thankful that it's not like some of the other stuff I've seen out there.
Well, and that's a good attitude to take. And yeah, I mean, you had it done in 2016, so I mean, you shouldn't be as scarred up as some of the stuff that we've seen prior to that time, especially here in the United States. But you'd be surprised. A lot of fucked up shit is happening right now, so you are lucky.
I get it, yeah. So I feel like I got a third chance, so to speak. So hopefully this will be the last time to fix that scar, as get it as small as possible, and if possible get some grafts. And the next procedure would be FUE, and just one question on the FUE part. On the temporal area, what I had where it was too far forward, I've had doctors tell me do electrolysis, and I have some doctors said, no, take it out and replant it.
Well, that's the issue with the practice of medicine. Everybody practices differently and has their own, makes their own assessments and their own judgment calls based on the experience that they've had in their practices. So there are some doctors who will disagree with another doctor's assessment just because they haven't been able to accomplish that.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that if I do the transplant, if they do go back in there and remove it and replant it, that there's not going to be it's not going to be visible, there's not going to be this big hole or anything.
You can't make sure visible. Of that. You cannot make sure of that. It's unlikely that you're going to have a huge hole that's very visible, but you could always have scars stretch back. As much tissue as they've been able to expand, you could be that anomaly where you have another visible scar even after the repair. You just don't know. It's surgery. You're a biological, being. And there's so many factors involved, including the skill set of the surgeon who's working on you and how they're doing it, how they're working that, how they're feeling that day. Every case is different. Yeah. These doctors could do this 1,000 times, 10,000 times, and you could be the one anomaly where you get fucked up.
Yep. And I'm referring to historically the results as far as doing FUE on the temporal area to replace it, to remove it and put it in a different location.
Historically, it depends on how big the grafts are, how big the punch is needed to core out those grafts.
How much damage on grafts when they were first placed?
Say that again?
How much damage is done during the initial placement? Because a lot of times grafts can be, depending where you go,
they're buried.
It's variable, but you'll usually have a lower growth rate or survival rate when you're recycling previously transplanted grafts. That's usually the way it works. Now, if you originally went to a place where they know their shit, like they know what they're doing, everything grew perfectly, the angles are great, the hair looks healthy, 100% across the board, but you just think that some hairs should be moved because they're bugging you for some reason, then you'll have a high regrowth rate for sure. But if you're recycling grafts from a previous clinic where the grafts are kind of kinky because they're damaged or squeezed too hard a little bit, or they're kind of at funky angles, maybe there's some scarring, then those have a lower chance of growing properly, if at all, once they're recycled.
Yeah, it's only about 40 grafts total for both sides, and they're healthy. They look well. The doctor said he can easily replant them. And he said don't do electrolysis because he said doing electrolysis, you'll still see something like there's a little, maybe a black spot there or something. Like you'll see like a pore. He said he recommended I just remove it, and either remove it with a puncture and he could replace it, recycle it, so to speak. I think this is Dr. Shapiro. He said it, and I don't remember about Dr. Wong. I don't think we went that far with Dr. Wong. Well, no, he did. He said he could do it too. He said it shouldn't be a problem. But I remember you saying that my concern is about who to go to for the FUE, because I remember you in the past you weren't too keen on going to Dr. Wong only because you didn't say they weren't good or anything, but they're not like. That's not what their specialty is, or that's not
Like in the past, I just didn't think they had enough time with FUE because they got a late start to it. They didn't really get serious about it until a few years ago. However, to Dr. Wong's credit, he himself has been, I'll say, playing around with FUE since 2003. Just not with large cases, just not with any sort of consistency. So he's certainly no stranger to it. But yeah, I mean, up until fairly recently, I just didn't think that the level of hands-on experience was where it needed to be. Now it is. I mean, after what I've seen in person, like I've been into the clinic a couple of times before I had my procedure 2 months ago, and watching Raluca in action, man, she's hardcore. She's really good.
She'd be the one to remove them and replace them, or recycle them.
Well, with Dr. Wong, she might be the one. He's got another technician, Winnie, that also performs FUE for him. She's been with him forever, and she's been doing this for a while too.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, ultimately, in a place like Hassanawang, in a place with a doctor like Dr. Wong, never take anything at face value. You got to think through it. You got to still do your research. But for my case, and this is strictly for my experience, and why I went with Dr. Wong in this, is because I trust him. He is my doctor, and I wouldn't change anything about my experience with him through my strips or through my FUE. Talking to Dr. Shapiro about this, I mean, those guys, man, they're like with FUE, they're tight. I mean, they know what they're doing. Dr. Josephitis is the big FUE expert in house there.
David. Yeah, that's one. I don't know if David.
Hello?
Yeah, his name is David Josephitis. Yeah, that's the one who does it.
I call him doctor, but yeah, okay. I mean, he's been the one that's really. I mean, they're all working closely together, but he's the one that's been in the trenches using these new tools that they've been incorporating their practice, and really pushing their FUE forward. So, it's a toss-up. It really is. Like, you got to talk to each one of them and just ask them, how many times have you run across a case like mine, and how many times have you successfully dealt with it? And can I talk to your patients? And, so many other questions. Dr. Wong, I will say this. I'll say this about him and Dr. Shapiro. They both have just this unique brain where they can look at something and not go with a standard approach for repair. They'll come up with creative ways that you'll be like, how the fuck do they even think about that? Both of them are like that. So it really is a toss-up. I mean, flip a coin.
Yeah, I think I really like both of them. Shapiro spent quite a bit of time with me. I mean, he was like very thorough. I mean, it was pretty amazing, actually. And he knew what I needed and what my issues were, and took some measurements, and it was just the initial consultation. So I have to go to one center only and do both at the same time. So just get some grafts out of the temporal area, and then fix the hairline and see what else I can get out of there. I mean, the donor scar. So I can't go to two different places. I just wanted to go to one place that does everything. And I was a little hesitant to go to Dr. Wong. I'm sorry, say it again.
Why do you have to do it all at one place?
Well, I prefer to go to one doctor who knows what my situation is.
Well, you got two different situations, though. You got a situation in the donor area, and then you got a situation in the recipient area. That's two different things.
And you're talking about but for the recipient area, I need somebody who can do. Well, I could do two different doctors.
To think outside the box. You're trying to group everything into one, and that's not necessarily what every doctor can do. I mean, I'm not saying they can't, but you said, I mean, you're doing this because it's what you prefer. But what if what you prefer isn't the right way to do it? Don't limit yourself to think.
You're right. I mean, I'd rather. I wanted to go to one.
Like stage 1, I need to get this donor scar fixed. That's first and foremost, because if you don't do that, then you can't sleep at night. You can't move forward, knowing that that you've done what you can. So get that done. I'm personally a fan of considering staging this out, because you can't afford to fuck it up, man. Like seriously, you got to take this slow. Don't try to sweep it all out in one shot. Sometimes and many times that is very effective and works perfectly fine. But just what if the donor scar stretches back and the work in the recipient area gets all scarred up and the grafts come back, and because they didn't get them all and they're all looking all funky. How you gonna feel then if both areas are fucked up and neither one of them are improved, which can happen?
Yeah, I don't want
to. Just making you think.
Yeah, I actually want to do the FUE first for the temporal area, not for the whole head, just the temporal area. Just fix that area first.
I've said my piece. I've done what I can.
Yeah.
It's up to you.
No, I get
forth with our knowledge, your decisions.
So don't limit myself to just one doctor. I could have one doctor do the FUE and another doctor do the
potentially. Yeah. I mean, it really is something. It's just something to consider, because he said something really important. I want to get this done all at once. Why?
That's what I thought. Because there's only, and I only said that was because there's only 40 grafts just in the temporal area, and then
only 40 grafts. Sure. Only 40 grafts. They bother you enough to have something done surgically. So you're going to refer to it as just only 40 grafts. Well, it's only 40 grafts that are affecting how you feel about yourself and how you look at yourself. So what's the big deal, right?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Don't rush into it. Don't look for the quick fix.
So if they did the linear scar on the back, then they have to transplant whatever they got. But you're saying go ahead and do it separately. Okay. You could. Do it separately.
I'm not saying do it separately. I'm saying think about doing it separately. Don't be in a rush to do it all at once. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll take that advice. I'll be patient. All right, so no more scalp exercises. I think I've had it with the scalp exercises. It's just too much. And I'll look into this tissue expander, but I'm already really hesitant on that.
Well, unfortunately, if you stop with the scalp laxity exercises, then your scalp will return to normal in about 1 week. I'm just kidding.
Oh man. Yeah. No, I know that wasn't true.
All right, guys, we're going to go to another call. You have no idea what just happened, Joe.
What?
Trying to fix this rig while you were talking.
Well, apparently it worked. I hear you just fine.
Yeah. And now you can see me fine.
Yeah.
All right, man. Listen, I wish you the best of luck. Say that again?
I was wondering why I wasn't getting interrupted.
Oh.
Favorite call of the night.
All right, man. Good luck.
No, man, I'm kidding. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for your help, guys.
You got it. Take it easy.
Good luck.
All right. Bye-bye.
Motherfucker. 888-659-3727.
What are the chances he's going to get it all done at once?
Oh. This guy's been walking around with a balloon in his head. You know that's going to happen.
The what do you call the dilators in his forehead?
Oh.
Fucking hardcore.
It's going to be hardcore, man. Let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
This is Jordan from Ohio.
Hey, Jordan from Ohio. How are you?
I'm so sorry. I'm actually very nervous. I can't believe I got on.
Well,
you have to forgive me.
do not be sorry. Anytime someone is able to speak to Joe, they get a little nervous.
It happens.
I understand it.
Let me be the first to say, or probably one in many to say, you guys are rock stars. I really appreciate all the information you guys are putting out there.
Well, I appreciate you saying that.
Hey, yeah, absolutely. I know this is kind of off topic and not in depth from what you guys were talking about earlier, but I'm a hair loss sufferer. I've been losing my hair essentially since roughly about 18. And it's been pretty, prevalent in my, I guess, mentality and, how I feel about myself. And I haven't taken the plunge as far as, getting a hair transplant, even though I'm, really thinning on the back. And my temples, not only are my temples receding, but my sides are actually kind of receding, too, like those temple points, I guess. So, I've been on and off of Propecia. I've been on and off of minoxidil, which is probably not a wise decision. It's just more so of a money issue. But, yeah, it's been rough. And like I said, I can't thank you.
Did you say how old you were now?
I'm sorry?
How old are you now?
I am 32. I've been losing that since roughly about 18.
Okay. Yeah, man, listen, it's a rough situation. There's no doubt it's completely life-changing for most people. People who don't understand what it's like to deal with hair loss at a young age, just they make it as though it's nothing. They don't understand why I do what I do, or why Joe's here, or why I've turned my Achilles heel into my career. And even to this day, at the age of 54, when I speak to people about my hair and what I went through emotionally, and try to do for all of those people like yourself. For some people, it's still a joke.
Yeah,
I'm just here for
Go ahead, man. Sorry.
Well, no, I feel you. I have friends who have full, luscious, head of hair and no issues there. And they're like, why are you worried about this? Just shave it or don't worry about it. Oh, you're thinning in the crown and the temples. Who cares? You know what I mean? I'm like, that's easy for you to say because you have a, full head of hair and, it's not really an issue for you. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, it's very easy for them to say. It's easy for them to judge. And listen, I've had friends who, at younger, points in their lives, they had full heads of hair, and then all of a sudden at 40, they're calling me up in a fucking panic. I'm like, really? And I like to just hang up the phone and say, go fuck yourselves, but I don't, of course.
Right.
So what can we do for you today?
Well, I was calling in. Again, I can't believe I got on, so you have to forgive me if I'm kind of stuttering over myself and not making any sense.
Sorry, listen, Joe does it every week.
Right. But no, I was calling in. I stopped taking my Propecia in January of this year and my minoxidil, which I'm pretty sure I never got any benefit from, like a non-responder. I've been doing a mohawk and stuff because, it disguises the temples and all that kind of stuff. But I was looking in the mirror and putting my head down, and I noticed, severe thinning in my crown, So, part of the mohawk's, really thin and weak, and the other's, thick and luscious. And I'm like, oh, my God, this is horrible. So, and I was wondering if I were to get on Propecia again and, possibly minoxidil, which I was kind of spotty on, to be honest, if I could see the same benefit from that until I, decide, of course, due diligence, as you always preach, to get a hair transplant in the future.
Well, I would say that, if you were planning on getting back on medication, obviously you need to speak to your doctor. We're not physicians, but I would probably start on one medication at a time. And, the medication that has done the most good for us and for the vast majority of people who take it would be Propecia. Since you're already on it and you've experienced what it's like to be on it, you shouldn't have any issues. And, when you think you have no results, sometimes that's when you're actually having results. The fact that there's not a lot of movement happening when you're on a finasteride is usually a telltale sign that it's working.
Right.
So my advice to you as a non-physician would be to, if you're going to get back on medication, get on one at a time. Don't throw the kitchen sink at it. And, you know, if you're comfortable taking finasteride, talk to your doctor about that and give that a shot. You may recognize and realize that after a few months, 6 months, whatever it is, the hair that you have does thicken up. You see some reversal of miniaturization. And you're able to wear that mohawk, and it's going to look better. That's a strong possibility.
Yeah, definitely. I remember a year ago, I was on Propecia, taking my minoxidil, doing all that kind of stuff, diligently, of course, and it was receding a little bit, but for the most part, everything was, I guess, right where I wanted it to be. As soon as I got off that and, you know, waited a year, I'm noticing, like, not only my temples, but my temporal points are receding back. I'm like, oh, my God. You know what I mean? So it's
well, listen, that's not uncommon. A lot of guys who they don't think they're getting results, and they're like, "Well, this is costing me a lot of money. I'm not going to spend or waste my money on this if it's not helping me." And they realize 6 months to a year later that holy shit, it was really holding things tight. So it's not atypical, and a lot of guys can bounce back from that. It just really depends on you, on your body, and how your body responds.
Right. I do have another question. I certainly hope I'm not wasting your time.
You are not wasting our time.
How do you guys deal seriously with people saying, just get over it, you know, oh, hey, it's a part of aging, you know, what are you going to do?
I tell them to go suck my dick. That's what I tell them.
Right. I'll have to store that one away because it's just rough. I have people telling me like, Jordan, why are you so vain? Why are you so caught up in it? Blah blah blah. And it's like truly an identity issue almost. You know what I mean?
And that's the thing. It's funny when people use the term or the word vain when it comes to hair loss.
Right.
It has nothing to do with vain. Guys who are dealing with hair loss aren't looking in the mirror and saying, "Wow, I look so beautiful. I'm such a powerful, beautiful human being." That's what vanity is.
Right.
It's not the fact that you are feeling like your self-esteem is eroding because your hairline is eroding. That has nothing to do with vanity.
Was it a woman or a guy that?
But people use the word vain incorrectly all the fucking time.
Of course.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But caller, is it the ladies saying this? Don't be so vain, or is it the guys, or both?
Well, it's everyone. It's anywhere from, you know, girls I talk to, my mom and sister, the guy friends are just like, dude, why are you being so, like, neurotic or narcissistic?
Okay,
Do you have
so
dysmorphia? Do you blah, blah, blah?
This is what you tell them next time they say that. This is what you tell them. If it's your guy friends, tell them, okay, well, put away your suits or your trendy clothing and start wearing a fucking potato sack outside. And then talk to me about vain.
Yeah.
And as far as the ladies go, tell them to start putting on a clown face every morning before they leave the house.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree completely. You know, it's funny because the friends I do have, if they notice like maybe a little thinning or like pre-stages, they're like, oh my God. And, you know, it's like complete hypocrisy as far as like they were dissing you for, you know, being worried about it, but as soon as it happens to them, they're like, oh my God, you know, that kind of thing.
And also tell your if it's your mother or your sisters or your friend, just say, listen, I'll tell you what, Mom, I'm going to shave 1/4 of an inch off your hairline. It'll grow back in a year.
Right.
And I want you to live this way just for 1 year of your life. It's not the rest of your life, just 1 year.
Yeah.
Let's see if she goes for that shit.
Yeah, definitely. No, I agree. Because I would always, you know, I would put my head down so I don't have to do the whole, you know, 2 mirrors thing to try to see the crown. You know what I'm talking about, right? And like, how's it looking? It's like growing back out. Sometimes I would try to take the plunge, shave my head, you know, just get over it. And as they say, and, you know, of course, I did not feel like myself. I didn't feel confident, you know. So I would put it back in areas that are completely thinning and, you know, have experienced loss. They're like, oh, it's just because you shaved it, or you're nitpicking or stuff like that. I'm like, oh my God, like, am I the one with some type of dysmorphia, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, listen, I felt that way many, many years ago when I was a kid, when people were telling me to get over it. And I realized, and the reason I started to do what I do is it was cathartic for me to open up these phone lines when I get on the radio and listen to everyone who is just like, oh my God, where have you been my entire life, essentially? Why has no one else done this? You know why? Because society makes us as men feel weak. We can't mourn the loss of our hair. We can't be concerned about our looks. We can't be concerned about how, even though women may not be reacting to us the way in which they used to, we can't worry about that. That's not the reason. It's because you lost your fucking confidence. You know what? Bullshit. That's complete bullshit. It's because I'm going fucking bald and I'm not as attractive as I used to be. Period.
Right.
Deal with it, people. That's just the truth. And whoever can't deal with that, whoever listens to the show and makes fun of it, or makes fun of guys, in your position, they're idiots. They're out of touch.
Yeah, I know. Right. I mean, I definitely agree. I keep in mind the whole Mohawk thing I'm doing. I am Apache Indian, which is cool, but it's more of I'm backing into it because I'm out of options as far as hairstyle. You know what I mean?
On.
So sometimes
let me ask you
okay,
a
I can
question.
deal with this. And,
Are you full blood?
I'm sorry?
Are you full blood Apache?
Not full blood. I'm part Hispanic, part Apache, but I have the dark skin, all the Indian features, that kind of thing.
Okay, I was asking because I have never heard of a Native American full blood with hair loss, ever.
Yeah, I'm Native American, and it sucks because I'm part Apache Indian and part Hispanic, and my dad had a full head of hair, right, till he died. And on my mom's side, my grandpa has a typical, little strip down the middle, sitting in the crown type deal, and also my cousins are going through it too. So,
okay. Well, unfortunately, you have the white man to thank for that. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry for that.
Well, no, I mean, don't get me wrong. I try to work with what I got.
More white guilt and white privilege guilt.
I was trying to throw a joke in there, buddy. Come on, give me something.
right. No, it's all good. It's all good. I know you're joking. But,
well, look, man.
I'm still a little nervous.
Well, you haven't, and you've been a great caller, and I hope that this call helped you. Feel free to call back again, and next time you won't be nervous.
Right. I definitely appreciate you guys, and I thank you guys for everything you do. It's definitely a big help to a lot of us. So.
Well, listen, we appreciate you. Thank you for your patronage, and we're here for you, man. So call in whenever you want.
Hey, I appreciate it.
All right, take care.
All right, you too.
All right, so for some reason, Joe, and this has happened since we started to use this software interface, you get lost when I'm speaking or when the caller's speaking.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just me interrupting people.
That was hilarious.
Fucking guy. Oh, yeah, I knew something was going on. I wasn't being interrupted.
Oh,
it's my fucking show, bitches.
We got the best callers.
Let's see who this is. And I got someone supposed to be finishing some drywall in like 10 minutes. Let's see if that happens.
In sheetrock?
Yeah, sheetrock. Jesus. I was talking about joint compound today. They looked at me like I was like, what are you talking about? Like, the stuff you put on after you patch up the fucking sheetrock. It's called something else now.
Spackle?
It's not spackle. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
What's going on, guys? It's Mo, Jersey. How you guys doing?
Mo, what's happening, man?
What's going on? Long time no talk.
So what's the deal?
The deal is, first of all, man, that I've never heard of a bald Native American either. I mean, that's just something that's
balding.
But
he's in the process.
Yeah.
Balding.
Make him feel worse than he already feels. No.
Well, no, I mean, I listen. I
let it go, Mo.
I zone out sometimes. Listen. We're all we're all there. We're all there. But anywho, Joe, I like the shaved head, man. You could have, if you didn't have, like 30 strips in the back of your scalp, you probably could have,
Hey, 29.
No, I like it. Seriously, I like it. I like it a lot.
I do too. Thank you. No, but look, I could do this without any sort of hair transplants ever and be like, the sides down here and looking like I'm older than I am. But I feel blessed as hell that with all the work I've had done, there's very little evidence in the back and sides, and I've got enough to fill it in up here to where it looks like, I can't say it looks like its original density, but it looks pretty full. And the back is nicely covered.
Yeah.
At this, I'm very happy where my buzzed head state of existence is today. I'm digging it.
Well, your FUE obviously is with Dr. Wong is, I mean, the recovery, especially in the back, is really, really neat. But I mean, I'll say, even watching your videos, I know you commented once saying that the resolution isn't as great, but honestly speaking, even the strips in the back, they look pretty solid. Overall, I think Dr. Wong and his revisions and kind of, combined, they've done pretty well. Like, you really can't tell unless you really look at it. And if you go, I think, scalpel bald, like totally skin. Otherwise, it looks pretty solid, I have to say, even in the back.
Well, actually, if I went down to the skin, it would be even less visible because there wouldn't. What makes it visible is the hair versus skin contrast ratio. That's what gives my scar the visibility that it has. But yeah, I mean, even at really short lengths, it's difficult to see, and that has to do with a little bit of decent physiology, but it also has to do with the surgical skill, with a nice single blade scalpel, number 6 scalpel with Dr. Wong. He's really good with strips. Wow, just fantastic. And then the FU extractions. I'm going in a future video, and on my website I'll be having the photos of my donor area right after the extractions. It's a thing of beautiful, nicely spaced out. Super happy with how they did that.
No, solid. And Spence, I don't want to leave you hanging. You look good as always, but I got to say, right now you look like a math teacher. You just need to take a pen and put it in the pocket, and you're right there looking like a math professor.
I'll make that happen for you, dude.
Go ahead,
right now.
Yeah, he does.
Game.
I got the short sleeve, button-down shirt.
Yeah, just got to put the pen on if he has square glasses, and then he's
and a white beater underneath.
I'm gonna make that happen. I'll get some glasses in a second.
Listen, so my uncle, my mom's younger brother, he got a hair transplant, and come to tell you, he didn't tell anybody shit, right? And he was asking me, and I was like, "Listen,
but he couldn't get it past you, Mo."
Well, he told me, he all right. So this is how hair loss is really a fucked up thing. This is a guy who's totally like, I mean, and Spence, your point about vein, 100% hits the nail, because this is exactly what I was thinking about. This is a person, my uncle, who was like totally doesn't give a shit about anything, like in terms of his appearance and all that.
Well, that's absolutely wrong.
The least vain person, doesn't really, not fashionable, not nothing, and he was thinning. I mean, he was pretty much bald and and thinning in some areas in the crown, and he decided to get a hair transplant in fucking Pakistan. And he was telling me I was thinking about doing this, but not really. And I said, listen, if you are thinking about it, I'm like, you should really talk to me. I feel, I know about the field a lot, and you shouldn't just go anywhere, especially when I say if you're thinking about going to Turkey or Pakistan or India, these are, countries you have to really be beware of. Not to say there are not any great doctors there, but, So he has a hair transplant, and he's in month 5. And the result, he got an FUE. The results are actually pretty solid, I have to say, for 5 months. And that's actually what fucking scares me, is that sometimes great results are not the best thing. Especially, listen, my uncle did absolutely zero research. He doesn't even know the amount of grafts he got, okay? And like, that's how,
So if he did zero research, how did he even end up in Pakistan?
Well, he's from Pakistan.
Oh, I see.
From there,
okay.
so he was. He doesn't live there anymore. His family's from there.
Right.
He just went on a trip, and that's what a lot of people, Indian Americans and Pakistani Americans do, right? When they go back to visit home, they end up getting a hair transplant. I kid you not, or do whatever cosmetic stuff they want to do. So he was there, and then come to find out, he had a fucking hair transplant. I saw him, and I'm like, oh, dude, I really hope it looks all right. And I'm like, I saw the post-op, and I'm like, it actually looks clean, but what the fuck? And the work is actually not bad in terms of the naturalness is actually pretty good. And obviously, it's only 4.5, 5 months, so the density is still sparse, but it's coming, and it looks natural. And honestly, that's the best I wished. I'm like, I just hope it just looks natural.
That's the first thing that anyone should wish for. But let me ask you this: is this something? Would you be happy with what he's got at 5 months?
Probably, yeah, I would be, and I'm just, the reason why I say probably is because it's just hard for me to equate, because my loss is totally different than his, so I'm trying to really piece it together. How would I look? But my thing is that the reason why I think this could be a bad thing is because people can just take this approach. Oh, I'm just going to go anywhere, not do my research, and look, he got a good result. So sometimes a good result, it can be a bad thing, because I really think it could have a butterfly effect on other people. And he could just say, oh, hey, you just go ahead and get your hair done. And my uncle, he did probably do some research, see before and after. He said he did all that, but he didn't even know the graft count. And at that point, that's all I pretty much needed to know. I knew he had FUE. Obviously, those countries are FUE factories. And he said he was a one and done. He doesn't really want to do any more work. So I guess if he just wanted to do one, so FUE, not a bad gig in that regard. He's like, it was just something I want to try. It looks all right, but again, it just scares me because somebody else could see him and may have that same approach, saying, oh, you just go to any guy and you'll get fit.
That's happening every day. It's happening every day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm happy for him that he looks all right, and for 5 months, very good. But it's still nerve-wracking that there's that shit happens.
Well, it is, but at the same time, like I said, it's happening every day anyway, where someone's they come back with something that looks halfway decent, and everyone around them thinks, oh, well, I can get something halfway decent too, and they'll just go, to the same region and pick someone out of the proverbial phone book and, wind up getting hacked up. And it's happening every day. But the good thing is that your uncle has something that you're saying is halfway decent. He's happy with it so far. So at this point, that's all that matters.
Exactly, man. He lucked out, and also you actually may have an option that you weren't even thinking about.
You mean in terms of going to that spot?
Yeah, who knows? Maybe this is the spot you end up at.
No, listen, it's you know what it is. I made my decision. I've said it openly, so I'll say Hattigan. Thanks. I did my research. Joe's video definitely helped. But it's obviously, it's like one of the things that Joe said to me before, and he may have said it in a video, and it stuck with me. It's that.
Hold on, Joe. We lost your camera, man.
Yeah, my camera just lost its battery, but I'm still here.
Okay.
Yeah, but he essentially said, don't just look at home runs, when you look at results.
Yeah.
And I hate that, because even the worst of the worst doctor probably has 1 or 2 home runs. Even the worst of the worst.
Well, everyone is going to put their best foot forward. That's all you're going to see in most cases. You're going to see their best possible work. You're going to see their home runs.
Exactly. So what I like to do when doing my research, and I'll admit with with Switzerland and especially since they have I think Germany and Switzerland, that part of Europe has a rule where you can't post a lot of things on pictures on their website. It's harder to do that, but because of Bella Capelli, because of the websites that you mentioned, like I really got to see a lot of the non-home runs, and still make it look good. But I mean, it's just that clinic that you're talking about in terms of where my uncle went. It's just not a clinic that I think any person who's done their research would consider. I mean, first it's FUE only, right? So that to me is already a red flag. It's just, I mean, this is also responsible. I mean, my uncle's also responsible for this. He's most of the blame, but he didn't even know the amount of grafts. And I said, well, did they tell you how many grafts? He's like, I don't think they did. So I'm not going to hold that against him just in case because he's not sure. But it's just, it's just the thing where I'm like, it's just too many red flags, and I don't want to discriminate. Listen, I have a South Asian background, so it's not me being racist or anything, but just being in that part of the world, when it comes to, cosmetic surgeries and even just regular everyday surgeries, it's just too big of a risk. I mean, you guys told me there was an Indian patient who died from a hair transplant.
Well,
I mean,
I know 2 guys that died in North America in the past couple of years. So it's look, regardless of the country, there are clinics in every country that operate to really high standards. That's why the IAHRS has members in a few countries where that might be a consideration. But they're obviously accepted members because they're doing a good job and their standards are pretty high.
In the last 5 years, people have died in California, Chicago. I think 2 people in California, 1 guy in Chicago, or in the Chicagoland area. Where else?
Jesus. Florida?
Florida. I think somebody died in Florida.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you got the French guy who died from the penile injections. Where was that? That might have been France. People are dying all over the place, man. It can happen anywhere.
It's surgery.
It could. Yeah. No, you're definitely right. You're definitely right. But it's just, it's I don't even know if the amount of microscopes they're using and their donor. I mean, listen, and listen, there's a really good doctor who. Very good doctor. You guys have mentioned them on the show. Don't want to mention his name. His results are really good.
Why not?
He's based in California.
Name him.
He's based in California. What happened?
Why not name him? We don't care.
So Dr. Deep, right? He has what seems to be great results, but and I'll be honest with you, when I saw his results, I was impressed, but there was something about the fucking videos that just bugged the ever-living shit out of me. I don't know what the fuck it was. But there was something about the videos.
I'll tell you what bugs me about his videos. He talks too damn much.
The
guy doesn't shut up.
Right.
It makes me think, if this is the problem I have with his presentation. It makes me feel like if I were to go into his clinic for a consultation or even a procedure, like he wouldn't listen to what I'm saying I want. He would be like, just like, you know those people where they're listening to you, but they're actually just going, and they're hearing you, but they're not actually listening to you. And they hear the sound in your mouth. It's just noise to them because their mind is running so fast. They're not actually,
that guy's applied to the IHRS probably 4 times in the last decade and a half. And every time I tell him, this is how it works, this is the cost, feel free to, send me information about your patients, pictures, this, that, and the other thing, never hear back. 3 years later, he applies again. Same conversation. Never hear back. It's like, okay, man, I'll play the game. I don't mind talking to you.
But I will say in his defense, I had a consultation with him. It was via Skype, and I will say the consultation was positive. I pretty much at that point had decided that I wasn't going to go to this clinic, but I'm like, why the hell not? Because the consultation was just the waiting line was quite long. But I'm like, why the hell not? Let me just see. And I will say he was the consultation was positive. Like, he was receptive. He would listen. So I'll give him that. He definitely seemed like, or at least he seemed like he had that. But there's another thing about him where, and his results look really damn good, but the fucking donor, I've seen things of his where the donor is just fucking destroyed, and that's why I didn't want to say his name, because
well, that's not good. That's you don't want to see that. Listen, Mo, we have a caller who's waiting on the line who I think is having a hair transplant tomorrow, and I got to get out of here. So I want to make sure that we get this caller on. Is that cool with you?
Sure. I'll talk to you guys later.
All right, man. I
I
appreciate it, and I will get some more pens for the next time I wear this shirt.
All right.
All right, dude.
Take it easy, guys.
Take care. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I think this is the caller that was trying to get through. Hey, caller, you're on the air. Who's this, and where are you calling from?
Hello?
Hello.
Hi,
Yes.
this is Irene.
Hi. Where are you calling
I'm
from?
calling from Norway.
From Norway. Well,
Hey, what's your name again?
My name's Irene.
Irene.
I'm fairly young, I'm 26.
So you said you're 26 or 24. I'm sorry, we're having a little problem with the connection. 26?
Yeah, my connection's a little bad, unfortunately.
That's okay. All right. So you're calling from Norway, and you have a hair transplant surgery scheduled for tomorrow?
Yes. I'm doing the part where we call it V-connect, the part at the temple where men usually have a dip. I have a very male hairline. I'm not experiencing any hair loss, nor has any female in my family. So I have very nice, fresh donor hair to take from, basically.
Right.
Okay. Well, so essentially you're doing it just to change. You said you have a very male type of hairline. You're trying to lower around the hairline to make it appear, at least in your eyes, more feminine, or bring it down a little bit.
Yeah, mostly filling in the part that reached back, kind of like a widow's peak situation. So I'm mostly filling that in because it's bugged me for years. I can never style my hair in a way because my hair is fairly thin, and it looks like I'm losing hair even though I'm not.
Okay. Now, Joe, did you advise her on the situation? Did you get to see her images?
She started not messaging me, but started commenting in one of our videos yesterday evening.
And by the way, where are you?
Yeah.
What happened to you, Joe?
What, can't see me?
I can't see you now.
I'm not sure. I see myself on the. Let me disconnect and call you back.
Okay. Go ahead. So here's the thing, and I'm sure Joe's going to agree. It really depends on your particular situation. I have seen some women in your situation, there's Joe, who have had enough grafts moved where it made sense, and the lowering of the hairline looks pretty good, at least in images and sometimes on video. However, a lot of times, more often than not, it's difficult to match the density of your natural hair, even if you think it looks like it's thin. And it could give you an artificial appearance that you will not be happy with. And it depends on the physician. It depends on your hair characteristics and skin characteristics and the type of surgery that you're having. I'm assuming, being a female, that they're probably going to be offering you strip surgery. Is that the case?
No, I'm actually doing an FUE. I'm just shaving the back of my head, basically.
And who are you having surgery with?
The Norwegian place called Moss Kineston. The owners are all doctors that have been working in the industry for a while. If I can find them here on the website.
All right, Joe, did you hear what I just said?
No.
Okay, I basically essentially told her that it's not easy to match the density of a natural hairline, even if you think it's thin. A lot of women who end up having this hairline lowering procedure, just using grafts, end up having to have several procedures. Usually does not come out the way that they want to have it initially. And it's kind of rare for a woman to have FUE, as opposed to trying to get the sweet spot using the strip. You're getting 100% of all those grafts moved. I'm not saying you should have a strip. I'm just saying it's kind of unusual.
Let me ask you something. When you were talking to this clinic, did you have consultations with other clinics, or was this the only one you spoke with?
This is the only one I spoke with, but I did filter a lot of websites and go through, and I found this one seems the most legit, basically.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you a question, and this is going to determine how we're going to go with this. Are you prepared to, like based on what Spencer and I are going to tell you, are you prepared to like if this sounds like and looks like this isn't going to be a good idea, are you prepared to cancel your surgery?
Yeah.
Or are you looking
Absolutely.
for affirmation to move forward?
Well, first of all, what time is it now in Norway?
It's about 1 a.m.
Okay, so your first red flag, you're having surgery on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay, just, you know, you have to understand how the industry works and how most physicians and clinics will operate, especially those who are really, you know, higher end physicians and higher end clinics. They normally, it's rare for them to offer even consultations on the weekend. It does happen sometimes, but surgery especially, if they're trying to book you on weekends, that's always, in my view, it's a red flag. Also, the fact that you're a 26-year-old woman who has no hair loss at this point, and they are providing you with an FUE procedure. Did they tell you how many grafts they were going to move?
They did not. However, I got this. I'm going to talk more closely with the doctor tomorrow, as I had only talked with a consultant.
Okay, that's another huge red flag, especially as a woman being in your particular situation. You should absolutely have been seen by a physician, even if the consultant did most of the talking initially.
Yeah.
Right.
Have you? Can you put in the chat room of this broadcast? Can you go back in the chat room and put a link to the website of the clinic that you're going to?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Actually, it may not let you. Just...
And now I did make myself look like a math teacher with a pen in my pocket. Jesus.
While you're doing that, Irene, what I've done is I went to your YouTube channel and I looked at. There's a way I can look at the image that you use for a thumbnail. I can look at a larger version of that. I can download that, and I'm looking at your was it the video thumbnail you've got for Signore Ascolta, and what I'm seeing here, I don't really obviously you see a need for this, and I totally get it. But what I see here is a situation where if it's not done the right way, you'll be.
Send me the link, Joe.
You'll be in a position where you'll feel more self-conscious about making these kinds of thumbnails than you do right now, because you say you can't wear your hair a certain style. If they screw up, which anyone can screw up, but yeah, I'm concerned about these red flags that you've already told us, and let's see, I'm sending the link to Spencer right now. Just look at the thumbnail on this when it comes through. Let's see. And I see that you just wrote you didn't give a deposit. Is that, they didn't ask for a deposit?
So is that you singing?
Yeah, that's me just coughing a little bit. But yeah.
Okay. First of all,
I haven't deposited any money.
First of all, let me just say that
My plan is to go and.
Go ahead.
my plan is just to go in and talk to the actual doctor and, see if this guy knows what he's talking about, gives me a little bit more in-depth explanation of what he's doing. And since I haven't left down a deposit, I could theoretically just leave.
Okay, well, that's good. That's actually a great sign. Now, I would probably, if I were you, digest what the physician has to say and just say that you want to, consider having surgery sometime down the line. If they were willing to book you on a Saturday, that means that they have plenty of openings. So that it's not going to be like you're going to miss your spot.
Asked to go for either a Saturday or Sunday, simply because I didn't want to have to deal with going to class on the following day.
Right. Well, I mean, if you have to go to class, if you're thinking about going to class at any day, it's going to take you weeks before you're going to feel even somewhat normal. And I'm looking at you right now, and don't think I'm an old man creeper or anything, but you're a good-looking girl. And I see what you're talking about as far as it's not like a really low, tight hairline. I can see why that you may think it's a little higher, but it looks completely normal and natural, and women have much higher foreheads than you have.
Yeah.
And I do not believe, even though you wear your hair blonde, is that your natural hair color?
No, it's not.
Okay.
It's a little darker.
Okay. I mean, so you have very pale skin, you have light skin, you have darker hair, even if you dye it, which is great, you're still going to have some rooting, which I see right there. And with a transplant, it's going to be much more visible that you had a hair transplant, even in the best hands. It is probably not in your best interest, no matter, I know this would make you happier if it came out really well. It's probably not in your best interest to make this move. I see no problem with you going tomorrow, speaking with a physician, saying that you're kind of, having some reservations, but you wanted to have this consultation. You wanted to see what he had to say. But the fact that your first consultation with the doctor is the day that you scheduled surgery, that's a big red flag. And the fact that they even
just go in and listen and let him know up front that you're not going to have a surgery, but you want to know about everything he's going to be doing. You want to ask your question, but I think that you should cancel. I think you should cancel and really step back and think about this. Watch us. You can call the show, read our resources, and learn about what really, I know you said yesterday in one of our exchanges that you asked them about microscopes and things like this, and that's great. But I think you need to really get a handle on what it is you're about to get into. My advice would be not to have a hair transplant, simply because, like Spencer said, your hairline is not too high.
You're not even a candidate, in my view. I mean, you have, this is your natural hair. You have no hair loss. I'm looking at you from the siding. I'm looking at some other videos of you as you're singing. I mean, you have good temple points. You're able to wear your. I mean, you're.
I don't see with my temple points. It's just the point that I basically always hide under where my hair falls.
No, I see that.
I don't believe it's visible.
I see that. To me, even it's a tough call. It really is, because surgery, especially for women, to gain the density that you would need to feel like you look normal. All stars would have to be aligned perfectly. Every angle of every graft has to be perfect. Everything has to grow. Everything has to be moved perfectly. You can't have any type of deviation in skin or cobblestoning, compression scarring. I mean, it could be a disaster for you. So, you know what, Joe? I'll keep you guys on the air. I got to take this. So,
okay. So what do you, after speaking to us now, what are you going to do tomorrow?
Well, I still want to do it, obviously, but it doesn't sound like it's a great idea, does it?
Well, that's just it. I mean, what Spencer said is true. I think that I think at the very least, if you're going to do this, if you're going to go through with it, then you need to learn about the possible downsides, even if it's a successful result. A lot of times when people have, what most people would consider to be a successful result with good enough density and natural angles and direction, things like this, you need to learn what that means. But even then, there can be smaller details that aren't perfect that compound into enough of an annoyance to where people wish they didn't go through with it. It all depends on your mindset, because some there's small imperfections in even the best hair transplant, and your mindset, your mentality on how you look at life in general and things about you will determine if that's going to be a deal breaker for you or not. So, if you obsess,
I don't think it actually is.
then maybe it's not such a good idea. If you don't obsess about little things about your life, then maybe it's okay.
Well, I don't really tend to do that. The only thing is, it would be nice, right? But I don't obsess overly. I mean, I went down to 6 millimeters in a haircut when I was in the Army, right? It's not really that's the biggest thing in the world either.
Yeah.
But
well, and that's a good point that you just make, and if you really don't obsess about it, and I'm looking at you, I'm really trying to take a look. I know this is video, and this is your, this is you looking yourself in the mirror and how you feel about yourself. I think your hair looks pretty good.
Yeah, exactly.
I see what you're talking about.
I'm well aware that this is a cosmetic change that possibly no one else will ever notice.
Oh, they'll notice it.
And I'm aware of it.
They will notice it, because I can tell you that it's not going to, even if it's a decent one, it's going to be noticeable.
Mm-hmm.
I really believe that. I mean, I'm looking at your skin characteristics, your hair characteristics, you have fine hair. You need a lot more to be moved for it to not to be noticeable. And even if you can't get that much moved, I mean, you can't do it via FUE alone. It's not, I believe, in my expert opinion, this could be a mistake for you. And, I just want you to be aware of that. Say it again.
I see exactly what you mean. But if the issue is, for example, density, I mean, I have wispy hair there already. Can't get
well, I understand that, and that actually could add to the issue, because the hair that comes out that's being used is going to be stronger hair than you have in the front right now. So the hair that you have is going to come out looking at a thicker diameter than the current hair. And frankly, if you really look closely at a lot of hair transplants, you'll notice an exclamation point type of a hair look when the hair is exiting the scalp. When you put that in on a woman's scalp, especially when they have darker roots, it is significantly more noticeable than it is on most guys. And if you look close, it's just the way that it is. For some reason, guys can get away with a slightly spikier looking hairline where it doesn't look quite as unnatural than it does on women. And it's just the way that it is. I don't know. Joe, maybe you could explain it, articulate it a little bit more.
Sorry, I was actually distracted by something. I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, I was saying how great the show is, and no, I was talking about exclamation point, exiting from the scalp, and how in women it just seems to be more noticeable, and it's men can kind of get away with a spikier look at their hairline than a woman can.
Yeah, well, here's the thing: when you look at women's hair, and especially the way they style it, subconsciously we're expecting a little bit more perfection with with each individual hair shaft as it comes out. I mean, the way, like, there was a result I was looking at recently by a doctor I just took on. The female hairline that was created by this doctor was one of the best I've ever seen, but it's still, like, my trained eye could see that there was just something not quite 100% natural about it. And yeah, it's because I've got the eye that can see these things. I've been looking at this stuff for so long, but I think it comes down to the hair shaft and how the surgery itself almost makes it seem thicker than, it is thicker than what you'll normally find in a frontal hairline by Mother Nature. Because a lot of times we'll have finer hairs in the front of the hairline to begin with, without any sort of surgery, without any sort of need for surgery. But when we go in with surgery, those hairs are more terminal than what we might find in nature, and that can be distracting.
You know what? Is your computer on? That could be one of the problems we're having with your sound.
Maybe. No, the speaker's not on.
Okay, I don't know if it's. If
I think it's a bad connection.
Yeah, it's weird. We're getting some weird feedback. Listen, what we are trying to do, as you know, is just provide you with a reality check, and that reality check is most women don't make great candidates for hair transplants. Most women, even in your situation, who just want to correct something that they've always had, they tend to make even worse candidates, in my view. And you see a lot of work online. If you look really closely at it, it looks artificial. They use, and you're talking about under the best lighting, the best circumstances, but what you can do is, go have this consultation, see if maybe you can meet some of his female patients. That may be that may be something that can give you a little bit more confidence and give you a little bit more of a realistic view of what you might possibly be getting into. Because once you're cut, you're cut. There's no turning back. Forget about the money. The money's not the issue. You, as concerned as you are about this right now, and you said you're not that concerned, looking artificial and having a bad or even a mediocre hair transplant as a woman, that will be life-altering in a way that I don't think you could even imagine until it happens.
Not to mention, I think that FUE is probably not the best route for you, because when you're dealing with FUE versus strip surgery, the only reason why strip surgery or why FUE exists is so that guys can have a short haircut. That's it. That is it. That's, wide donor scars from strip surgery, bad strip surgery from bad clinics were pushed to the forefront when FUE clinics in the early days, even today, were trying to make a name for themselves. And there's no other reason for FUE to exist.
Yeah, your sound is, there's some sort of weird interference here. But yeah, I mean, that's the reality. I mean, in general, most women shouldn't have FUE anyway. And
but hang on. My point about this is that when you have FUE, you're thinning out your donor area on a 1-to-1 ratio. Literally, every hair that's taken out and placed into the front, one less hair in the back. With strip surgery, that's not so much the case. It is a 1-to-1 ratio, but all that tissue where that hair resides is also removed. So the overall density of your hair will feel unchanged for the back. With FUE, that might not be the case. It will literally be thinning it out. So that's also something you need to consider, because you have the 6mm haircut when you're in the Army or when you're in the military. At that length, your donor scar would have shown, but your FUE donor scars might have shown as well. And that's the challenge. You gotta think this through. So I think that moving forward, you got two things to do. Number one, if you want to talk to the doctor, then go talk to them, but don't commit to surgery. The second thing you need to do, contact me through my website, I want to review the case in more detail. I want to know.
Caller, by the way, are you able to hear Joe?
I'm able to hear Joe, yeah.
Okay.
So I want you to go to my website, hairtransplantmentor.com. Contact me through the contact form there, and let's get this figured out. Okay.
Okay, what did you say the website was?
hairtransplantmentor.com. It's down in the description of this video.
Okay.
Well, listen, I'm glad you were able to get on, and I really wish you the best of luck. Take your time. You have no deposit down. That's good. That's the good news. Take your time, and just move slowly, because this is the real deal. I mean, this isn't just a simple outpatient procedure. If it's not 100%, your life will be different in a way that you don't want to deal with.
Yeah.
Right. So, I'll definitely go talk to them and hear what they have to say, but definitely getting the idea it's a really bad idea.
It's probably a really bad idea. I mean, unless there's something that I am not seeing on that video and on your image, I would say that if you were my sister, if you were my girlfriend, my wife, someone I cared about, I'd be like, there's no way I would allow you to have that done, knowing what I know.
All right.
Okay?
Yeah, well, you guys are the experts. I think I'll probably take your advice on that.
Well, listen, at the very least, I hope that you just take it slow. That's it. But the main advice is, in my view, not a doctor, but this is not for you. Okay?
All right, I see.
All right. Well, good luck, and send your information to Joe.
Yeah. I'll be back. Thanks.
Okay. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks for calling, Irene. Bye-bye.
I wish I could have heard her better, but yeah, I mean, I think we saved a life today.
I think we did. I wish I had time to talk to her yesterday. I saw her messaging, and I was so busy with some other things, I wasn't able to dive into her case, but I'm glad she called. I told her to call the show, and so I'm glad she did. And hopefully we'll be able to get a good outcome on this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at her videos, like, there's no way this girl should have anything done.
Yeah.
I mean, looking at her down too. I mean, it looks good. I mean, it looks fine. I understand. I understand what women want with their hair, but it's still very natural and normal. It's not like out of the ordinary as far as her hairline at all. I see women with much higher hairlines. They have to deal with trying to wear bangs or whatever.
Yeah, she obviously doesn't have that problem.
No, she looks good to me.
Yep.
What do I know? All right, Joe.
All right, Spencer.
Good show.
It was. I agree.
A lot of technical problems, but we made it happen.
Just like almost every time.
I look like a math teacher in this shirt, apparently, but I'm still going to wear it again because it's warm.
Just to spite Mo.
I'm actually going to get a fucking pocket protector next time, motherfucker.
Some glasses with tape in the middle.
Yeah. All right, guys, listen. Joe, give out the websites, please.
Hairlossexperiences.com, UK-based hair loss and hair restoration forum, but being the interwebs, everyone's got access through the World Wide Webs. Great clinics sharing results and patients sharing their experiences, and the owner, a repair patient himself, and working hard to help other repair patients find the answers for their problems. That is hairlossexperiences.com. Check them out. We've also got bellycapelli.forumfree.it. It's the Italian hair loss and hair restoration forum with great clinics sharing results, passionate patients sharing their experiences, and another repair patient like myself, known him for many years, great supporter and friend of this program, allowing us to stream live through his web property. Check him out, bellycapelli.forumfree.it. And finally, we've got international-hairlossforums.com. It's the French hair loss and hair restoration forum, clinics sharing results, patients sharing experiences, and believing in our message and allowing us to again, streamed through their web property. That is international-hairlossforums.com. Check them out.
Joe Tillman's personal website is hairtransplantmentor.com. If you guys are living under a rock, go to hairtransplantmentor.com and learn a little bit about our co-host, Joe Tillman, and his experience. Also, his YouTube channel is where we stream the live show, or we stream it elsewhere, but we're trying to build that page. So go to youtube.com/hairtransplantmentor. Subscribe to the website, ring the bell so that you can be notified when we are live. And for crying out loud, like this video right now, like this stream. TheBaldTruth.com for all archives of this broadcast, even though I haven't been putting anything up lately. Trying to keep things on Joe's page for a while to kind of build that up. But if you want to check out archives of the broadcast, also I'm lazy. Archives of the broadcast, check out thebaldtruthtalk.com. I'm sorry, thebaldtruth.com. Jesus. And American Hair Loss Association is americanhairloss.org. The International Alliance of Hair Restoration Surgeons is IAHRS.org. And if you want to interact with other hair loss sufferers, check out the message forum, which is baldtruthtalk.com. Until next time. Oh, and guys, like me or follow me on Instagram, for crying out loud. There are thousands of people listening right now. And I got, less than 1,050 people following me on Instagram? Just do it. It's not asking too much.
Just do it.
Until next time, be strong, God bless, and thank you so much for listening. Have a good night.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry for any inconvenience you may have been put to prior to the programme, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. And if you could now leave by the exits at the rear, that would be splendid. Thank you. Good night.